Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial we are going to be recreating this flyer from scratch to finish. So you're going to be seeing all of the text effects that I used from this place, the background modes, the blend modes, filter, everything. You're going to be seeing it, and and that's what we do on this channel. We teach people how to create all of these stuffs in Photoshop. So if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment, as all of these things tell me that you like the content that I upload on a weekly basis, and they encourage me to keep making more. That being said, let's dive right into it. The first thing I want to do is to create a new workspace. Control N, the shortcut to create a new workspace. So this is the size of the workspace we're going to be using: 1024 by 1448. The background is going to be white, and you click on create. So let's drag it. Yeah. So after that, we want to start importing all of our backgrounds, because backgrounds are like the foundation of everything we are going to be doing. So as usual, I have my backgrounds here in another workspace. So I'm just going to be dragging my backgrounds to this place, and we are going to be working on them. So this is the first background we are going to use. Click on it, and then we're going to drag it to this place and place it in the workspace, right? So I'm going to leave a link to all of these backgrounds. I'm going to leave a link to them, so that for those of you that want to practice as I'm practicing also, you can have access to them. And it's actually good that as I'm working, you're working also. That way you can always pause the video, rewind, and you can understand better anything I am doing. So this is the first background we are going to use. So now for this background, as I said, or I always say in my last my videos, you want to make sure that your backgrounds are always in smart objects. You converted them to smart object for the purpose of resizing. If a picture is not in smart object, when you resize it, it would reduce the quality of the image. But when you change it to smart object, it gives you a whole lot of options. And even when you start to resize, you start to stretch, the quality of the image remains the same. And for the purpose of adding filters, we'll get right into it. So now, as you can see here, we've converted it already to smart object. If you don't know how to convert to smart object, you right click and you come to this place that says convert to smart object, and already it will convert to a smart object. This is the logo or a sign that depicts that your image is already a smart object. So the next thing we want to do is to go and add our filter. We want to literally blur some places in this place, because it's a background. We don't want it to compete with the main image. So all you have to do is come to this place that says filter. You go to blur. This time we're not going to be using Gaussian blur as usual. We're going to be using radial blur. All right. So we can increase it to, or let's leave it as 10, and you click on OK. So this is what the radial blur would look like, right? But now we can see that all of the places are blur. As usual, what you want to do is come to the smart filter, Control I to invert it. And what you do now is to go to your brush. You take your brush tool, still clicking on this place for the smart filter, and you change the foreground color. Remember, change the foreground color to white. White reveals and black conceals. It's just like a trick. If you're hiding in a black place, in a place that is dark, nobody's going to see you. If you're hiding in a place that is light, people would see you. So just have that concept in your head, that for when you're talking of blend modes, when you're talking of layer mask, white would reveal and black would hide. So we are going to use our white to reveal all of the places that we want to be blurred, while we click on the layer mask. So start to paint. As you can see, they are now being revealed. Okay, they are being revealed. So these are the places that we want to be blurred to give the blur effect, right? Only place we want to be blurred. Now the next thing we want to do is to import our other background. So since we are done with this background, we can actually delete it. Now we take our other background to this place and we place it right into here, right? So we want to set it to this point. All right, and then we change the blend mode to multiply. Change the blend mode to multiply. So this is what we get when we work on it this way. So remember all the process that I did from the first to the second, and then afterwards, the next thing we want to do is to now import our image. So this is the image. We need to work on our image. So we take the image and we place it in the background. So this is our image. Yeah. So So I think this place is fine for our image. Yeah, but you see now that this image is not like really into this background. It's just like, look at the edges are really sharp. It's not like literally somebody in the background. So what we want to do is to go and you add a layer mask. The layer mask would help you to be able to retouch all of these places, and like I said, layer marks is something you cannot do without while working on Photoshop, because it's literally one of the best ways you can use to retouch your images and still get like anything you want, instead of using eraser tool like most apps would use. So that's why Photoshop is like a little bit more superior. So you have the download, you create your layer mask. This is the icon for layer mask, and then you go to your brush tool. Like I said, this time you guess it right, we are going to be making use of the black to hide all of the places that we do not want to be seen. Okay, so you're just going to be painting it lightly. You're painting it slightly so that it rhymes with the background. Yeah, yes, I think this is better. So we have the image already rhyming with the background, so it's not giving you that sharp edge kind of vibe that oh, this image was imported and stuff like that. You get? So after we do this, the next thing we want to do is to start to import our text. To their various places so that we can use them. So the first text we want to import is the birthday text. All right, so we drag the birthday text to this place and we place it above this place here. This is where we're going to place it, in the middle. Okay, this place is nice for the birthday text. Let's take it up a bit. Yeah, so we are going to be adding certain effects to the birthday text as usual. You go to your you double click on it if you want to double click on it, and then we start to add certain features to it. So the first feature we are going to be adding to the birthday text is the bevel and emboss. This place we are going to be clicking on the bevel and emboss. So let me take this away so you can actually see what happens when you click on it. So this is the bevel and emboss. So for the bevel and emboss, our style is going to be inner blend. The technique is going to be chisel hard. The depth is going to be 251. The size is going to be 95. The soften is going to be 3. We don't do with this side. Opacity. This is actually the color we are going to be using. So the color is 7E520A. This is the color we are going to be using. So you set all of these things to, as you can see, once I unclick on the bevel and emboss, you can see what's happening to the image. When I click it back, you can see what's happening. So a little change, but with more effects that we are adding, you're going to see things would happen. The next thing we want to do is to go to our stroke. You click on your stroke, and then the stroke size. I've actually worked on all of these things before, so that's why you have them stored here. So it's just for you to copy it, paste it, and then as it's not just copy and paste. Actually, as you're using them, you can actually just be observant and see what they do. You get? For the sake of this video, I don't want to be going through all of these things. The video is going to get too long, and most people don't have long retention span. You get? So you have size of 6, you have the opacity of 57. All right, that's for the stroke. And then the next effect we are going to be adding is the outer glow. So we go to our outer glow, we add our outer glow, right? So we have our outer glow, double click on it, and then you have the opacity to be 30, the noise to be 1, you have the spread to be 18, the size to be 40. So all of this image, don't joke with the jitter, don't joke with this. Then you go to the next one that we're going to be adding, which is the drop shadow, right? So this is how our drop shadow is going to be. This is the color for the drop shadow. Oh, sorry, don't double click, just click once. So this is the color for the drop shadow. This is the color is DAB18B. DAB18B. This is the color for the drop shadow, and then you click OK. So all of these things, and make sure you see all of them. This is the color white. This is for the stroke. This is the color white. For the bevel and emboss, this is the color we just changed here. For the shadow mode is black, and you can take note of all of this, blend mode also, normal, chisel hard, inner bevel, all of this. Just make sure of this. Again, this is the color 7E520A. All right. Now that's being done for that. Now the next thing we want to do is, once you click on this place, you come to the properties, right? So from the properties, we can see everything that we want to know about this text, So this is the size of the birthday text. The font is actually elephant 000 elephant. I don't know what's pronounced, but just when you see elephant there, that's the text. And then you have the size to be 364.29. Then the color, we are going to be changing the color to white. We're going to be changing the color to white. Yes. Now you can see that effect that I was talking of, and then you click on OK. All right. So that is for that. That's for the text. That's for the birthday text actually. The next thing we want to do is to import our other text that says Queen. So our other text, Queen. So you can delete this birthday text since we are not working with it anymore. So you take the Queen text to this place and then you place it here. All right. So all you want to do is to place it a little bit here. Let it just be like divided by the text here. This is okay. All right. So for the Queen, we are doing nothing much. So this is the text I use for this is the font text I use for the Queen. Hampton personal use only. That's what I used. I'm gonna leave a link to all of these images, the backgrounds, everything. You're gonna get there. So for the font size, we use 366. For the spacing, we use 60 points. So all of these things, you're gonna see them in the video, and you're gonna be able to apply them. So we double click on this, and then we change the color also to white. All right. So that's what it is for Queen. Queen's birthday. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to impute. Let's adjust this a bit. So yes. So we want to input our text. There's a text that's down here. So that's the next text we want to impute. This is it. So you can delete Queen. And you click on this, and then I take it down here. Alright, so I'm gonna paste it down here. So yeah, launch bar reserver. Okay, so first things first, let's just quickly go over it. For the text, you have, it's not displaying it here. What you do is go to your text tool and you click on it, and voila, everything just appears back. The font is Cardiff, the size is 60, the color is black, so you can Control A to highlight everything. We are going to be using white, so you change the color to white. All right, and then you click on OK. So that being said, we now give it its own effect. I think basically in all of the text we are adding, it's just the Queen that doesn't have any effect. All right, so we're just gonna give it our own effect. You double click on it, double click to give it your own effect. Okay, now for this, the first only two effects we are going to be adding are the outer glow and the drop shadow. The outer glow and the drop shadow. So this is what we are going to be getting when we add the outer glow and the drop shadow. So for the outer glow, you have the opacity to, I've done everything before, that's why everything is stored. So you have the opacity to be 30, you have the noise to be 1, you have the color to be, let's change the color to black. Let's change the color for the outer glow to be black, because we don't want it to be too pronounced. It's a little bit too pronounced, so you change the color of the outer glow to black. Kind of, yeah, let's just be black, and yeah, let's be black, so the text is not hidden, and then you click on OK. All right, so you have the technique to be soft, you have the spread to be 18, you have the size to be 40, all of these things for the outer glow. So but then let's work on this a bit, because we can change the spread to be 48. Let's see how that happens. We can change the size to be, let's give it a size to 8. Let's give it a size of 8. Give it a size of 8. Okay, and then yeah, I think this works, because all of these things, when we just used them before, it's just as if we did not put any outer glow. It's just as if the drop shadow was not working. The drop shadow, the color is actually white, so we want the whiter part to show. Do you get? So now we go to the drop shadow. Don't joke with the range and the jitter side. Don't joke with that side. We now go to the drop shadow side. and then the blend mode again is normal. So the color for the drop shadow is DAB18B. That is for the drop shadow for this, and then you click on OK. Right, so let's change this. Let's work on this a bit. Also, you have the distance to be 0. Let's make the spread to be 40. Let's make the spread to be 40, and then let's make the size to be 100. Let's just make everything even. Yeah, I think this is not too light. It's not choking the text. The text can literally be read, and I think this is fine for the lounge and whatever the text is, lounge and reservoir. You click on OK, and I think this is fine. This is fine for this text. So the next one we want to bring is our text here that stay in this place. So this is our date and our time. Yes, that's our date. So we are done with this. We can delete this. So we are literally done with this image. Also, we can delete this. So we have our date. Our date is going to be on the left hand side. Yes. Yeah, our date is going to be on the left hand side. And then what we can actually do is the date and time literally have the same effect. They have the same effect. So I'll just give this one effect, then I'll duplicate the text, and let's watch what we do here. So for the date here, for the time, we are going to give it effects. We're going to double click on it so that we can give it our own effects. All right, so for the date also, we are going to be using just two. We're going to be using the outer glow and the drop shadow. Okay, the outer glow and the drop shadow. So for the outer glow, the blend mode is going to be normal. The opacity is going to be 30. The noise is going to be 1. You can always put the noise at 0. And then the color is black. The text is softer. The spread is 48. The size is 8. Okay, let's leave it that way. Then we'll go to the drop shadow. So this is the color for the drop shadow. The color for the drop shadow is don't double click, just click once. The color for the drop shadow is DAB18B. That is for the drop shadow. And then you have the opacity to be 30. The spread is 40. The size is 100. And basically this is for the time. And you click on OK. So now clicking on these, we can come to the properties to see what the text is about. So the text style is 28 days later. The size is 119.78, and then you can just come down. The color is black. We're going to be changing it to white, so we're going to give it a white color. Right, so we're going to click on OK. All right, so what we want here is to give it a glow look. It's not having that glow effect at the moment, so now we want to revisit this. So we go to the outer glow, and then let's work on the outer glow. But let's work on the drop shadow first and foremost. Let's change the color to white. Let's give it a color of white. Let's give it white, okay. And then let's increase the opacity and see what happens. Yeah, you can see it's giving that glowing effect. So we can leave it at let's leave it at 70. Let's just leave it at 70. So yes, this is beautiful. I like the glowing effect. So what we want to do now is just click on this place, and in this your layer, your Control J is to duplicate, and then you drag this to this place. Drag this here, and then you can double click to change the text. Just write Sunday, November 22nd, and that's it, right? Yeah, it's looking beautiful already. So guys, the last but not the least text we are going to be importing is the food and drink. So you have to just hold it here, you take it to this place, and you import it to this workspace. So you can just adjust it to be in the middle, and you take it up a bit. Right, so before we proceed, let's just check the characteristics of this text. The font style is Mirrored Pro, and it's regular. The size is 50. The color is black. You can actually change the color to white. Okay, so guys, for the sake of tutorial, I can tell you that what we are actually doing is recreating. So after you must have recreated all of these things that I've done, I'd actually like for you to do it your own way. That way you're able to understand and apply all of the concept that I've applied into creating something unique. What we want is creativity, what we want is uniqueness. All right. So that being said, what we can now do is add the final effect to this text. So we are going to be giving it an outer glow and a drop shadow. Okay. So I've done it before, so everything just came automatically. But for the sake of those who want to do everything I've done, the opacity is 30, the blend mode is normal, the noise is 1, the color is white, the spread is 18, the size is 40. We can go to the drop shadow also. This is the color for the drop shadow. Oh, you have to click once. The color for the drop shadow is DAB18B. That's the color for the drop shadow. And then you have the opacity to be 30, the distance 0, the spread 39, the size is 100, and that is that for your food and drinks. One last thing, guys, we cannot just leave this image looking like this. It's not looking like something that was actually embedded in the background. It's looking like, oh, maybe the clothes is floating. So we need to make it look like it came on the ground by adding a little bit of shadow. So what we want to do is to click on this, the uppermost layer, which is the food and the drinks, and we create 2 more layers. The first layer is going to take the shadow for the left, the other layer is going to take the shadow for the right. Okay, so after this, you click on the first layer and then you go to your brush. After you selected your brush, make sure the foreground color is set to black, and then you select your soft round brush, and on this icon here, this dots here, you want to resize, you want to drag it up. So this is what it's going to look like, and so this is what your brush is going to look like. All right, so you click on enter and you can increase the size of your brush. Okay, and on this place here, you can just click once to give it a shadow. So this is what it's going to look like, and you can now take the shadow down a bit. Okay, and down a bit, and all we will have to do is just reduce the opacity of the shadow to, yeah, let's still reduce it. Yeah, this is fine. 1 to 0, 42, and let's make it 50. So this is fine, right? So yeah, you're having that shadow look. So you can actually do the same for here, or let's delete this layer. Let's duplicate this, Ctrl J, and all we have to do is to take this here also. So you're having something like this also. So you can now work on it. You can increase it if you want. You can hold it up if you want. You can hold it down if you want. Just edit it to your taste, just to give it that shadow feel. Not to make it look like it's floating in the air. Click on OK. All right. So let's take it up a bit. Yeah, reduce it a bit also. Yeah. So click on OK. So yes. So it's now giving you that effect like something was actually on the floor. So you can click on any of this layer. Let's do for her shoe also. You click on your brush tool, and then let's take this in this side. Yes, it's now set. So you can click on enter and you reduce the size for your brush, and then all you have to do is come to this place of your brush and you click on it. All right, so on a bit. All right, what you now see is as if you're, yeah, so this is how it looks, guys. The final outlook of it. You can reduce this also just to make it look a little bit, yeah. So guys, the video is a little bit too long. That's why I'm rushing to make things look this way. I usually take my time to do all of this, but I just want to give you the concept to know how this actually came about. I want to give you the concept to know how this came about. Just to make this video, this picture look blended, what the next thing we can add is a camera raw filter. You can come to filter and you add your camera raw filter, and you give it time to load. Okay, and then you can come just touch one or two things. The exposure, you can increase the exposure a bit. The contrast, I already increased the contrast. You can increase the contrast, just play around with it as you wish. You can play around with those, you can play around with the white. Literally just play around with everything and you click on OK. So you can see my image becomes lighter. All right, so this is literally how to work with pictures. This is literally what we do on a daily basis. This is how we survive. This is how we eat, by creating all of these things. It's just when you have an idea, you're creative, Photoshop helps you to bring your creativity to life. All right, guys, so we've come to the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking to the end. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment. Like I said, all of these things encourage me and they tell me that you like the video that I upload on a weekly basis, and it encourages me to keep making more. That being said, once again, thanks for watching. See you in my next video.